Are we live? Can you hear me? Are we live and can you hear me all at the same time? All right. I think that we are here. And good evening. Good evening to you all. It's so happy. I'm so happy. It's so good to see you and I'm so happy that you're here tonight. And Brian's in the house, John is in the house, Jeff is in the house, Boot Ken is in the house, Kid is in the house, Sean is in the house, Bob is here, Rocky is here, Allison is here, Diane is here, Spot is here, Manny's here, Cheryl is also here. Oh my goodness, Papa is here. So many of you guys have come to join us here live. I hope that you guys liked the video. Did you like the video? I am unmuted. I think I can hear me. You know, back in my radio days, we used to listen to a monitor version of the radio. So you would always know if you actually pulled off at being, on the broadcast side of it. And so it throws me off. Tiger Eye is here. Good to see you. And Chris is here. Good to see you too. Sonia is here. And I saw Annie from Canada earlier at the video. I hope that you made it here too. It was awesome that you guys all joined in to see the video premiere. That was a fun time, going and hanging out with the fossil people. There were so many things to see. I didn't want to barrage you with, an hour-long crazy video, but I could have. Maybe next year I'll do a full-length feature film on the Fossil Fest. It was incredible. And also incredible is Chris, Rufotris Rooted Rockhound. Man, I'm having trouble with words this evening. Thank you so much. Let's get this party started. I really appreciate that, Chris. You did a super in the chat. Because of the audio issue last week, which actually Chris helped me with, I edited that, but then I realized that I lost the chat stream and you can't review the chat stream. And, each time I want to thank Chris and all y'all, Tiger Eye and John and Joseph and everybody who supports the channel with these little supers. Oh, thank you so much. And Theo is also in the house. And thank you so much for the super as well. I'll take that torch up. Who's next? Thank you. I appreciate it. We're edging ever more closer to getting that scribe. That's basically, you guys know I'd like to get another UV flashlight that the low range, I think. And then you know that I need the air scribe. Did you guys see Waylon's fossils in the video? Oh my goodness. He does such an amazing job as far as oh my gosh. Thank you, Rocky. Rocky, thank you so much for the super. And Theo and Sonia has a super too. Oh, you guys are so super as far as your super chats. I really, really do appreciate it. And you know that I do. And as I was saying, it goes to the scribe fund. I think that that's like the big item. And Jackie is talking about a gem light, a proper torch to light up the inside of the gem, like it's tiny little powerful gem light, little pen light would be. Oh, John, thank you so much. Trying to follow Chris and RMB, but they run faster than me. You guys are so sweet, all of you. Oh. And Boot as well. You guys rock on. It says rock on. And you guys know you all rock so much. And I am looking for a gem light, Jackie, as well, for sure. I'm sorry that I might have missed some comments that were in between the supers. I really appreciate all of your comments. So if you're asking me a question, if it's something super relevant, like, hey, turn your mic on, or something like that, go ahead and repeat it in all capital letters. And eventually it might, enter the skull. I really appreciate it though from all of you guys. I do want those torches. I want a good low end UV light, and then I also want a proper gem light is really important. Right now, I'm using an uplight through my microscope, and that's doing pretty good as far as being able to work out any of the issues inside each stone. One of the reasons why I have this wonderful microscope to my left here, to your right, respectively, and Bob's rocks. I think Bob, thank you so much for the super chat. You guys are all very, very generous, and I really appreciate you all. I think, is there something that I can? I think I'm supposed to be able to like them or something. Wait, I can do that. There. I can do that. Thank you. And I can do this. Thank you. And oh, I missed the one from Sonia. Oh my gosh, Sonia, thank you so much. See, this was important for me to go and backtrack and make sure that everybody gets shown here. Thank you so much. There's Theo's. Thank you. And I think I can go all the way up. Oh, that's cool. I think this is a little bit more. Oh, and did my mom is here, and I missed that for the supers as well. Hey, mom. Hey, Judy. Nice to see you. All right. And she made it without me putting a link up this time. And so I think I got everybody as far up as I could go. And as I was saying, this is probably going to help us to fund our scribe first, because I was saying about Waylon, if you didn't see the video before, go back and check the video that has a very similar thumbnail to the live stream this evening. And Waylon is somebody who lives out here on the coast. He's lived in a few different places over the years, and he just does the most immaculate prep. And I was asking him, if you heard in the video, do you use microabrasion? Which if also you watch Morning Man Lambo's videos, that he uses like dolomite or some very fine sand in an air abrasion tool to get all of the really fine prepping done. And Waylon's preps were so clean that I thought for sure he was using air abrasion because they look so pretty. And he was even apologetic about one of the crabs. And I was just like, did you see his preps? So you might scrub back in the video and check out his preps. There's like a stack of bones in one. And I mean, the way that he was able to get around the bones and clean everything off was just incredible. And so yeah, I think that we need a scribe so that I can start working on some of the exciting fossils that we have. And we have some of those to review from the video. And did I get the Cheryl super sticker when I was going through everything? I hope I did. I lost track a little bit. You guys are just so incredibly generous. Oh my gosh, my words. All right. I guess I need Steinkernage. Okay, everybody, I didn't hit this yet this evening. Steinkern, to you and yours. Thank you so much for coming. Thanks for rocking so much. What's in your moose? Let's all have a quick drink here. All right. That is weird, Rufo, about like that they arbitrarily decided it was $1.99 and not two or something. I don't know. and folks are having wonderful inner conversations, which is exactly what we expect on the Friday Night Live. So chat away and tangent hard because that's what we're here for. Did I say hi to Jackie? So thanks for coming by, Jackie. I know you were over there in the video as well. I have an all caps there. I miss souls. Okay, so yep, Cheryl, I did miss. And so Cheryl, so much. Thank you. Let's get you up there. Thank you. And that's like moderation at its top shelf right there. Like, thanks y'all for keeping me straight. And Tiger Eye says hi to my mom. And Jackie, the middle of nowhere doesn't exist, says boot. I guess not. Like, because wherever you are, there you are, right? And so it is a place because that's where you are. Let's see. Thanks again, John, for pointing that out. Journeys is in the house. Good to see you, buddy. Um, by the way, this reminds me of something that I wanted to make sure to bring up. We are, I mean, the mumbling around town. Theo said something about it on his live stream. So, the live sale, and thanks y'all for coming by for that. That was such a fun party. He mumbled something about a maker's challenge coming up. And I thought on the Discord, how much fun would it be if you guys had your kind of makers extravaganza? So it's not necessarily so much of a challenge as it is show off your awesome maker talent. So whatever craft it is that you do with your rocks, even if your rock is just beautifully polished, in the podcast show and tell, if you'll go ahead and share your pictures and maybe a description if you'd like, we'll go ahead and feature those on the podcast version for Discord of your Maker's viewer show and tell. And so uh, Joshua reminded me of that because he showed quite a bit of the work that he's been doing, and it's awesome. And Brian showed us his work, and it's awesome. He did a proper slideshow for us today on some of his incredible work. And so definitely share there. Now, if you're not part of our Discord, you can totally take part. There's abundant time. Go ahead and hit a link either that our mods can provide here in the chat stream, or you can always hit me up over at ozonefineart.com, or even in the comments, I can guide you. And so if you're interested in getting into the Discord and at the very least being able to chat with all of us all week long, do your shows and tells. We have some really cool channels within the Discord server like faceting and of course show and tell, but whose videos are coming up and all sorts of fun over there. So definitely check that out. And Theo's saying, I definitely need a scribe. Like, Theo and I have been doing faceting conversations until like deep into the midnight and morning. And what I really need is a scribe so that we can like keep on nudging ourselves into like the crazy zone of working on stuff maybe that we're not supposed to be working on and going off on crazy tangents and that. But yeah, I definitely feel like I need a scribe in my life. And Rocky is talking about the Gemfish IF1 gem torch. Looks pretty awesome, but is pricey. But when you start getting into pricey gems, you have to be able to see in them so that you know that you're spending your money well. And so a good gem torch is definitely on the list for sure. And Spot says a post got lost. I'm sure there is a record super chat and sticker donations buried in my analytics, Karen. Yeah, you know what? It would be very, very cool if I can find that. You're absolutely right, Spot. So that I can like put up a stream of like thank you so muchers to you guys. And let's see. Diane says Ken Prime sounds like you were on Dune. That's interesting. Ken Prime and Ken Minor. Oh no, Minor, nice kid. Steinkern to you all, says John. I think I'm far, far, far back in the chat. I better skedaddle up. I was looking for all caps, and you know how like it's easy to get a little distracted by what folks are saying, and then so much more goes by. So scrolling, 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 and I'm just trying to make sure that I don't. You know what, Rufo? I do need to make you into a mod. I don't think I have this stream up on YouTube so that I don't run into issues, but I'll see if I can't hit you. I had told that to John before, and I finally, like several live streams later, had the live stream up. Oh my gosh! Oh, Josh, it's always the color. Like I see like a color flash, and it's like, oh my gosh, there's yellow. What is that? Thank you so much for this super. I really, really appreciate it. Theo saying it's true. Karen and I are gabbing pretty much constantly. The tangents don't end when we hit record. That is so, so true. Um, yeah, and thank you. I think I saw the Ken got the Discord. Thank you so much, Ken. I really, really appreciate that, Captain. I hope that you're wearing your hat. Awesome. Let's see. I'm hoping that I'm not skipping some super, super like all of your comments are super relevant, but I want to make sure that that we're all doing well here. Let's see. All right. So yeah, I don't have that up, and like I've overloaded my overhead bar. So um at some time very soon, Chris, you need to become a mod here. If you do so, accept the challenge. And thanks again, Josh, for your wonderful super. And tonight we have like a loaded show for you. And so I've tarried quite a bit already. I'm not going to just chat like I did on Monday. We've actually got business to attend to, and so we've got some stuff to look at from the beach hunt. And I actually have a preview of something that's going to happen for one of the next videos. I've gone on a beach hunt since, and I picked up something really cool that I need to show you guys. And I will, let's see. Yes, thank you, Chris. He's saying, I'm down to mod always. I can even be helpful at times. No, you're always helpful. Everybody here is always so helpful. I really, really appreciate all of you so much. I should just mod everybody. Boy, especially after watching what's been going on Kyle's live streams, like with all of the folks that have been trawling lately. So we've got some rocks to go through from the video that you guys just watched and that beach hunt. I have a surprise from the most recent one. But first, we have Jeff that I think he was hanging out in the chat. He was so generous to send me a box, and I have some of his incredible fossils right here. Wait. Oh, I need to flip the screen. I can't figure out which way my fingers go. So those are rocks from Jeff and Vicky. So yep, he's there. Jeff, are you going to hang out in the chat then? Because I can start a slideshow that you can help us out, or if you want to try to pop on, we can do the random who in the audience would love to come on the show. And okay, Jeff is saying that he can join. Okay, awesome. And so we'll just spin the wheel and randomly select somebody who's in the live, and they're gonna just magically appear up here on the podcast. for the live stream. And Melissa's in the house. Good to see you. Thank you so much for coming. And while he's getting that sorted out, I'll go ahead and I'll indulge you guys in the thing that I found recently that wasn't in that last video, but is kind of exciting to me. Not a super spoiler, but I don't know if you saw in the video, there was a really big pectin shell that Waylon had, like kind of in the center of his table. And what you look for is like a pancake shaped rock. And so we got pancake, check. No syrup, no butter. But do you see the ridge line? And that ridge line is a telltale. Let's see. Like it's actually, kind of scallopy and everything. And that goes around enough so that we know that there is a pectin shell. Look at this thing. Like that's my hand, and that's how big it is. And so this is the biggest pectin shell that I've ever found. Those are the big, 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 big scallop shells. And it's looking like we need to pound it out. It's like a pristine concretion. I've never found one in a pristine concretion like that, that looks like there's no part of the shell that's been like broken off at all. So exciting. All right. And so he's about to find out how hard it is to keep up with the chat, right? Okay, it does look promising. Okay, we're gonna enter Jeff here on the stage. Everybody say hi to Jeff.
Hi, everybody.
It's so good to have you on here. And isn't it crazy to see everybody in like their videos and then finally be able to talk to them? I just love it.
How do you do the chat on this thing?
I'm not entirely sure. I don't usually operate it from a phone. And so maybe somebody
I
who's
don't see
in
any.
the chat, well, you can't see the chat. And so you probably couldn't read. Maybe I don't know if there's like a different orientation. Thank you, Papa. I think that everybody gets to share in the excitement as far as that great big pectin, because I'll definitely crack it open for everybody. And so it's not going to happen tonight on this live because I haven't aired the video yet. But maybe we'll crack it on the video or something where everybody can share in the excitement. So have you figured it out, Jeff?
No, I hit chat down here at the bottom, but I don't see any chat. So
Let's see. I'll
it
I'll
says
see
chat with
if
everyone in the studio, but
yeah.
it's just
If
me and you in the
anybody,
studio, right?
yeah, if no, if anybody in the chat right now has instructions. Okay, Ken is saying the chat on the bottom is the StreamYard chat. And so that actually should show for you, apparently. Is that what you're trying to say, Ken? For Jeff? And Spot says, Karen can
Okay, I
translate.
see.
I want to learn too.
When you tagged Ken's comment, it shows below you,
Yeah. Yeah, I did
but I
that
don't
for
see anybody
you.
else's comments. So
Okay. So, but I think Ken was using a PC, and I think also Theo, who was in the chat, also he uses a PC. The only person that I know that does this regularly from a phone is Kurt. And so let's see, Slim Pickens is here. Good to see you. And he's here for a quick howdy and for a limited time because I know that you're trying to get that shot together and it looks so good. And so thank you for swinging
can I
in. I
turn my
really
phone
appreciate
sideways?
that. And Jeff is going to go ahead and get sideways on us.
It won't let me. It won't let me go horizontal.
mm, Okay, so Ken says I had to have two windows open and keep the YouTube player off screen. I see. Um, and yeah, he's trying. I think Melissa's being helpful as far as like if you change your phone orientation, which I think that Jeff is feeling right now as a
Yep, that didn't work.
possibility. But I think one of the things that happens is when you first get started, it picks your orientation and you can't change it. You have a couple options, Jeff. If you want to like go off and then come back in horizontal, that might help,
All right, let me
and
try it.
yeah, like we can, I think everybody's relaxed here enough to be able to chill out, but you guys have no idea how hard it is not to just crack open that pectin. And so I think somebody said something about how do you do that? Yeah, Melissa, I was thinking if he changes his phone orientation, it might help. Um, you actually hammer gently around the entire pectin, and actually Kent, whom you saw earlier on the video, and he was a guest of the podcast. I don't know, maybe about 6 months ago, and we got to go to his house and see all of his fossils. Well, maybe some of all of his fossils. He's got so many, and he opened up a pectin for us. And he opened up a pectin on the beach, I think, for Jared as well. And he just bangs the rocks together and is able to do it. But you do it around the perimeter of the shell or the concretion, and it'll just pop it open, and because it's weaker at the point where the shell is, then it just will open there in theory, and you don't have any other issues, and you just see this perfect pie plate of a great big shell. So can you see it now, Jeff, or are we
No,
still?
it wouldn't. It didn't work. I tried before I even turned it on. I had it sideways, but it still came up with me.
Yeah. Well, I'll try to translate the chat as much as possible for you, and I'll put the questions that happen up on the, below us so that you can read
Okay,
them. And
we'll try it.
so Jackie was wondering about how you open the pancake, and I think I just covered that. So hopefully, Jackie, that was enough. And if that is not enough information for you, then I better open up that pancake quicker and show you in like a three-dimensional way, right? And let's see, Vicky, maybe a tablet would be a good choice for Jeff on the road. Perhaps. I mean, if you guys are interested in doing this more, I gotta,
I got a birthday coming up.
oh, there you go. More technology is always good. I'll vote for that. But I threw a curveball at Jeff. I'm like, hey, well, why don't you just come on? And so he's working and
Yeah,
obviously
lucky
taking
I
a
was able to be stopped already.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
it
I
was
really
raining cats
appreciate
and dogs down here in Alabama, so I was like, hey, I'm going ahead and stop them.
right on. So yeah, what we were going to do is thank you so much for stopping, and we can highlight some of your rocks, and I figured we would start with the ones that you shared with me this evening on the Discord. Tell us what we're seeing here.
You're seeing this big old monster.
He's got it in his hands, ladies and gentlemen. It's incredible. It's magic.
This
Look at that.
thing, I found probably, well, I found a bunch, but I picked up probably about 8 or 9, 10 chunks about like this.
Oh no.
And they are, as far
Show
as I
us
can tell,
again.
that's as far as I can tell, it's horn coral.
Horn coral.
It's a big death plate chunk
Wow.
of horn corals. It's just it's loaded with horn coral.
That is so incredible. That is so
I'm
nice.
trying to get the light to where it shows it good. That's just one
Yeah.
of them. I mean, let me find this one side that shows it really good. There's all kinds of them. This right here is a good one.
Oh, yeah. I think
I
we
mean,
have a
they're
close-up of that. You took a picture of that, right?
yeah. I took pictures of all around this thing.
Yeah,
This
so I
thing,
think I have a slide of that we can
this thing's
visit
heavy
in
to
a
hold.
second. He's making biceps, people. Oh, that's
If you
so
see how
cool.
many's right there, just in that one little section, and I got a spider crawling on it. I think.
Nice. We got extras.
Anyways, I
We
ain't
got
worried
some
about it.
company.
So there's like 3 or 4 right there. It's hard for me to see it facing away from me looking at the camera.
Sure. Yeah, you're doing a
But
great job. And
But
like I
yeah,
said, I'll pop up the close up here in the sec.
there's they're just all over. I mean, every which way you turn this thing, there's more popping up and showing. And I was thinking I could prep these, you know, try to. I'm sure if there's on the surface, you're seeing all these, what's inside of it.
Yeah.
And so I picked up a bunch of them, and of course, just like the death plates, like I sent you and Cheryl and Chris, he hasn't got his box yet, but uh, just like those, you know, I only need one. I don't need all of them. I
Looks
need
like
one
you
for
need a
display.
scribe
So
too.
yeah, that would be a good idea to have. But yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna anybody wants any, just let me know, pay the shipping, and I'll send them to you.
Oh,
Now,
that's so sweet.
these
Hold on just a
things are
second.
heavy, so
Yeah, so there's that. But hopefully it still fits into if it fits, it ships. And so Rocky said, rotate phone, press chat, then change from private chat to public chat. Then you can change the transparency of the chat because it's kind of hard to see the screen through the chat. And so
rotate phone,
you can try
press
that.
chat.
And meanwhile, while
Uh,
he's playing with that, I'll go ahead and bring the okay, so that was the first slide. We have the next slide has the close up of some of those horn corals that you can see that Jeff took a great uh, line of question or pictures on.
John, yes, I did notice the fossils and rocks, but I never really picked any up and kept any.
Okay, we have
I,
is
I
this the one
found it.
that you're
Thanks, Bear.
So, yeah, before Jeff started getting into rock hounding, when he was trekking, did he ever notice the fossils and rocks before as much as now? And you were just answering that question, yeah?
Yeah.
And so the answer was yes.
Can you guys still see me? Because I can't see
Yeah.
myself now.
Oh
Okay.
no. Yeah, we can see you.
Okay.
All right. I know
I'm
this
looking at the
this
chat. I can't do both. I can't look at myself. I can't see you and me, and the chat at the same time. So I'll just if I get off frame or whatever, let me know.
Okay, well, actually, since we've got some more slides, if you know how to get there, is it easy for you to switch back and forth so that you can narrate us
Yeah.
through some of these slides?
Yeah. That
I consider that a
these pictures are all of that rock I just showed you. Uh, I don't have the other ones are like unreachable at the moment, and with it raining cats and dogs, I can't get out of the truck to get any. But that one I had up front because I didn't have any room to put it anywhere else. So I have a bunch in the side box. I've got a bunch over on the side of the truck. If anybody watched that video, uh, my last video I just did, I showed all of them because I found some stuff in Louisiana too, and I was showing that stuff. But yeah, I've got a bunch of those, but that one right there is a prime example of what they all look like. There's just those things are everywhere in those rocks. So
nice. So
I
here's
mean,
a
but as
question
far
for
as
you.
I can tell, that those are horn corals. I mean, if somebody knows otherwise, then feel free to tell me.
Oh, we love the crowdsourcing of knowledge in
Exactly.
this this wonderful crowd. And so also, does this have anything like does this play into your weight limits or anything? I'm wondering like as far as your rig full of rocks, like do you have any problems with that?
Uh, that's kind of complicated. Yes, it could. I mean, if I really picked up enough, but uh, I mean, I have to. My company and what we haul, I'm never heavy, except for whenever I have a backhaul, which is not product that we normally haul. And sometimes I can be heavy with that stuff. Most of the time, it's not an issue. The the You've got allowances per axle, and the truck. itself, which would be the steer tire or the drive axle, can be overweight, but you can adjust for the steer or the drive tire, but the steer tire, it's tricky to do that adjustment. But we have an extra allowance because of what we haul, and um, our axles for our steer tires are bigger and heavier. So we have an extra allowance. There's usually 12,000 pounds is the maximum you can be, but we can be, I think, 14 or 15,000. So I'm never over that. And I would have to haul a couple thousand pounds worth of rocks to do that. So, yeah, I'm never worried about that. And I might have 100 pounds worth of rocks in here right now. Maybe, probably not, but I don't know.
Uh, that's great that you can score that. And Kid Curry had said earlier, a semi and rock hounding, what a dream! I think that is
Yeah.
this the I had a picture of dreams for a lot of us when we were younger is the open road and finding a bunch of rocks. Well, I've got this guy up next, and this is actually among the ones that you sent me. And you said that there were two flavors pretty much. You said that there were Ohio and Kentucky. And so
Right.
are we looking at one of the Ohio
That's
ones here?
Kentucky.
This is Kentucky.
Yeah.
And
And I
I
see
wanted to
bryozoans and looks like brachiopods in that one.
look at that. So pretty. Yeah.
I assume that's a breed of brachiopod, or I don't know
Mhm.
what the actual name of the shell would be, or the organism
That
would
close
have
up is
been.
from the bottom left hand of this death plate here, and we can take a look at some of this, any of these if you guys have requests. We can look at any of these guys under the microscope, which will be fun, and throw the black light on as well. And tell us about this little guy.
As far as I know, I'm not an expert with these fossils, but I mean, things I learned as a teenager. I remember seeing all this stuff in the creeks in Ohio and in Kentucky also. I lived a lot both in Kentucky and in Ohio and southwestern Ohio. And as far as I know, those are bryozoan, which is some kind of plant life, I think, or are they some kind of, I don't know if they're either some kind of plant, like almost like crinoids, but they're not crinoids. I've just heard them called bryozoans, so
Uh-huh.
they're either some kind of plant life or they might be a coral type of some sort. I'm not sure.
So, yeah, Cynthia, welcome in, and she definitely agrees with you. And we even, I think I might have mentioned it at some point earlier, not in the last video, but when I was showing you the fossil shell that I found, the Calacantharus carlsoni, the way that we always know that it's that kind is the bryozoans on the shell. And
Hmm.
so, like, they happen to pick up more bryozoans because those shells happen to be the favorites of the ancient hermit crabs. They would wear the shell around and grow all these bryozoans on the shell, and then they would become part of the fossil record. And so you have the fossil bryozoans with the fossil mollusk shell as well. And so that's cool. But it is yeah, tell us what you know in the chat. If you're a bryozoan expert, we would love to know. And then thank you. Allison has shared Jeff his channel handle there, and so definitely go hit that, and you can see more about this. And I love this. This is what I was going to say almost verbatim. Bryozoan is a colony thing. Yeah. It's a collection, it's a collective, it's a commune. Yeah, and John says that Allison beat me to it. Thank you guys. The uh, mods are in the house working hard, making sure that you guys have all the right links. And so we've got that was fascinating to see. And then we have this guy, and I want you to place your attention all the way to the left of this death plate, and you can see my thumb. And so this is a like ginormous death plate.
Yeah,
As
there's
far
some big
as
ones.
yeah, it's a slab, and it's easily, I don't know, an inch and a half to 2 inches thick as well. And
And
so
that's not even
that,
half as big as some of them I got.
oh my gosh, now he's bragging. um, what I thought was really interesting is, this is a very large um, death plate, and you can see the bivalves there. And then here's this fantastically large structure, and do we believe that that is a coral there?
It's either that or bryozoan. It needs to be cleaned up better. I didn't uh, clean that side as well.
You know what's exciting about that is, if I clean them, then I can go ahead and take all of the debris that falls off of it that could be fossil debris, and look at it under the powerful microscope, the lab microscope. 100 to 250
So one
as
thing I don't know
far as
about this one in
magnification.
particular, Karen, but
Hmm.
when I was cleaning them off, all the ones that I have laid out in my yard, I was spraying them with the hose, and there's there's quite a few of them that they're so layered, and each one of those layers can start flaking off because they're just like compressed clay or something. And so I had one in particular, uh, a bunch of little pieces about so big came off of it, and I had them set to the side, and each one of those little pieces was just loaded with fossils.
Wow.
So if you go to clean any of these any better than what I already did, uh, then be careful about that. If you don't want them to fall apart, look at the matrix of the rock and see how stable it looks, and maybe be mindful of that before you start cleaning them with any kind of high pressure anyways.
Thank you. I was thinking, a teeny weeny pick, like a solder pick, and flaking the stuff off. That's usually how I go about, more of a prepping style of cleaning, just because I do like to collect all the stuff, the debris that comes off of it to see underneath the microscope. Ken actually was asking this question, probably somewhat facetiously, the Bryce Shell Rab. It happens. Definitely it does, because fossil crabs have been found inside bivalve shells, as like either they climbed in there to eat it, or the organism that was in the shell was eating it. Not sure which, chicken and the egg situation was going on there. And then you have bryozoan on the outside. And actually, Jeff was just talking about that as well, where there will be fossils inside of fossils inside of fossils, because of probably the death plate situation. And I think I missed something that was a question about magnification up here, and I can answer it without finding it. Somebody was saying between oh, here it is, 150 to 150x would be um, the magnification that I would use if I was looking for the forams, like the small fossils, the foraminifera. But we're gonna tonight on this magnification, this microscope that's sitting right here, we're gonna just go up to 40x. And so anywhere from using a hand lens, which some of them start at, say, like 5, and go up to, say, 20 or 40, and then you can go ahead and use bigger magnification. You can use your phone. There's a lot of different ways to get close, to be able to see what's on there. And so especially with today's phones, you can get some pretty decent magnification without even having a tool other than your phone. So let's see. And Cynthia is saying I would be lost for hours on the microscope with this. Absolutely. Oh, Joseph is in the house. Did I say hi to Joseph? Rockin' Wheelers is here. Good to see you. Thank you so much. Um, and Rocky is saying there are only a few uh, genera of bryozoans and that are solitary. The rest are colonial. Okay, good genre. Um, and so that's interesting to know. Thank you so much for pitching that into the public knowledge soup that we have going on here. And so, Jeff, how about tell us about this beautiful thing?
So that is, I don't know, I think I cut that one. It looks like, is that got a cut
Yep,
face?
that one's
Yeah.
cut.
So
Yes.
this is, I don't know what to call it. I've just been calling it the Kentucky stuff, but it's very translucent. If you've watched any of my videos, I've talked about it. My very first video was some that I found, and it's like a chalcedony, uh, but others call it, well, at least one person calls it Kentucky jasper, but it's very translucent. So I know that it makes pretty calves. Allison made some really pretty calves off some of it that I sent her, and I found this stuff in a road cut in Kentucky, in central Kentucky, central South. Uh, but yeah, there's a lot of it there. I can just pick that stuff up
Ah,
left and right, and I've
it
got a
is.
bunch of it in my yard right now.
It's drop dead gorgeous. It is so, so pretty. I cannot wait to work with this. And you can see that it's got like it's orbicular. You see these
Yeah.
beautiful orbs down there, mostly to the left and kind of that bottom area, blushing through these like purplish, mauvey, rust colors, clear through to kind of a blue. We've got that like gorgeous green over there, all sort of outlined with this white. It's really stunning stuff. Now, Vicky brought up an interesting question, probably more aimed at the fossils that we were just looking at. Can you use a
I would say
solvent or
dish soap
liquid?
and water, just soap and water.
Soap and water. Okay, well, thank you for that because I know a lot of people out there. Not only are they also trying to collect, but that you do run into now. What do I do with it? For sure, Geo Rock, and I don't know if they
If
properly
I'm
set it up.
correct, I think with the, if you tried to use, like, I'm not sure about vinegar, but vinegar or acid or something like that would probably eat those, wouldn't it? I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
I think so. I think so. Like anything that's made out of calcite is just going to go away very
Yeah.
quickly with any amount of acid, even just that's in vinegar. That's a problem that we run into with prepping the stuff that we have on the beach. And so awesome. Gio's got a microscope to play with, and Jason is in the house. Good to see you so much. Thank you for coming to the Friday Night Live and joining us. And Rocky is talking about giant foraminifera. Yes, they're still small, but they're huge. And actually, Morning Man Lambo has been finding some of those, and I'm going like, man, those are massive in comparison to my little guys that I see under the microscope. And John is saying cool color matting on this piece, and I would
So
agree with you.
on where I find that stuff, okay, I've been picking those up, but I've also picked up, actually pulled them out of the wall of the road cut, uh, several nodules, and there's a lot of like whole quartz, like full, what, like solid is what the word I want to use, solid
Uh-huh.
quartz nodules, but there's also geodes. Uh, Now, if any of you's watched my video where I went on that hunt with Logan and showed his shop and all of his yard and stuff like that, he showed me some stuff that he has found there. And he did actually find some banded agate there at that location, which it's not
Wow.
supposed to be in that location. Any banded agate is not supposed to be there, but he found some there. He also found, this is very interesting, a, a couple little geodes with like green. He's calling it malachite,
Oh, wow.
inside the geode, like little pieces of green inside the geode when he cracked it open. And so I went back there and looking again after I left his house and stopped by there, but I didn't find anything. I pulled out several nodules and what I'm hoping when I go to cut them, but you never can tell. But he showed me a bunch of stuff that he's found there at that road cut that I've just been picking up that stuff because I think that stuff's pretty cool.
Oh, it
But
is.
yeah, I mean, and some of it is very, very bluish, purplish, and some of it has a lot of that orangey red wispiness going through it. And I mean, it's varied material. And if you look at some of the stuff that Allison cut with it, I mean, if you're the closer you are to the outside edge, the more you're going to find those orbicular patterning in it. Uh,
Oh, interesting.
the more inside you go, and it depends on each individual stone that I've seen and I've cut. I've cut several of them. Some of them are almost solid, just that blue and red looking stuff. I think I sent some of that to Ken too. Ghost,
Okay. Yeah, Ken
ghost.
actually had a comment up here about the one of the orbs looking rather hexagonal, actually. And
Hmm.
so, Ken, have you had a chance to look at yours under under like say a loop or something to see if you've got anything like that? And thank you, Jason. You're
Chris, I
awesome.
gave you and Tyler both in that box I sent you back May or something. I gave you some of that.
All right. Yeah,
Chris
this
was
was
asking,
Ken's.
saying he might need some of
Oh.
that.
Oh, okay,
He's
gotcha.
already got some.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I see that. Oh, all right. So you're sitting on some, Chris. You can see the chat. That's awesome. Um, all right.
I have to go
And
back and forth.
oh, gotcha. All right.
So
The
I'll
other
look at the
Ken.
chat, and
Oh, I see
if you
the
pull up
hot
another
Ken.
picture you want me to look at, you got to tell me because
Gotcha. I'll give you a cue on that. Actually, um and Rufo's going, I have a piece. I need to dig that out. But again, thank you, Jason, for the hot chocolate fun. I really appreciate that. And I know that somebody answered you, Joseph, but welcome in. And yes, this is the Jeff from JNV. And he is saying, I love his truck rock hounding. Here, I'll put that up. That's awesome. The traveling hounder. I love that.
yeah,
All right. And so we'll get you and nighty night. Thank you for coming by, Joseph. And let's get you on to tell me a little something something about this guy.
oh, that was for me. I was looking at chat.
Yeah. This
I
totally
gotta use
happens. Like
I
Ken
gotta
was
use my bifocals. I'm about to be 53.
uh let's not talk about age being a problem. We all get there.
That looks like a just a conglomerate mix of. I see. Looks like bryozoans in it. Uh, looks like some crinoid stems going on in it. It's hard to
Uh-huh.
see it. The picture's so small on my phone.
Oh, got it.
That's why I'm using the bifocals. I'm trying to see it good.
I see. Yeah, I can't zoom in. Unfortunately, that's a slide being shared from what I have this in my possession. That's my hand, and I took this picture. I actually for being able to see the uh, the fossils, one of my habits with the conglomerates that we have here on the coast is I cut them or I polish them so that I can see what's in it. Because you see the topography, but it's all got like, what you were talking about earlier. It's got sort of like the grunge of the earth on it.
Hmm.
And when you cut something open, a lot of times, of course, you're shearing stuff in half so that you can see what's inside. That's oftentimes diagnostic. Uh, and sometimes you just get a great surface that you can see everybody better. And so this bad boy I did cut. I cut it in half, and I cut it also um, along, like from top to bottom, so that I could see the stratification, because in a death plate you probably have layer of
Oh, yeah,
death.
yeah.
And then also I cut it in half so that you can see, okay, so we see that there's good stuff like on the top of this cake, and on the bottom of this as well. And so I just flat cut it in half, and we will be able to look at that here in a second as well.
Something
And
I
those
found interesting about some of these, and I don't know which one you might have, but you look at one side and you've got whatever's on that side, and then you turn it over and it's completely different on the other side. Still loaded with fossils, but like one side will have nothing but crinoid stems in it, maybe a brachiopod or two in it, and then the other side's loaded with, you know, brachiopods, bryozoans, and whatever else is in those things.
Yeah.
And I don't know enough about the fossils to recognize maybe some that might be in there.
So here's an example of what he was just talking about. This side is very brachiopod. I mean, it looks like there's the the like bat wings all the way across this whole surface. And then if you turn it over, this is the one that looks like, it's just got like little spaghettios of the crinoids on it. And you
Yeah.
almost see no brachiopods on this side. And so I love that the stratification is so different. Like we have a death event for these big guys, and you see almost no crinoids on this side. And then you turn it over and it's like the opposite. And
And that's a
so,
thin piece, so
and
it's
this
so
is
interesting to me because it's so thin, but then you've got so much going on in that thin piece.
totally. And so this is the big one. And this one also has, some really, really cool bivalve looking guys on this side. And then this is what gave me the idea to cut it both ways. Look at how thick this book is. Imagine what history is contained in the death
Yeah.
plate of like that thick, of all these things dying, because this is this side of this guy too. And you can see now like how three-dimensional that big life form is there. Whoops, I'm getting off of the camera, sorry. Just getting so excited that I'm just, completely failing. But you can see that like definite moon surface on this guy, but really, really big specimen. And so that other guy, I was like, it was small enough, but it had varied enough ingredients that I was really curious. Okay, what do you look like on the stratification side? And then if I shear you right in half, what kind of thing is it going to show you? Sometimes, like if you cut open a layer cake, okay, so there's jam on one of the layers, like not that exciting. But with these guys, they intermingle so much that I was pretty impressed. And Joseph was saying that he was saying goodnight to somebody. And so, anyways, I'm glad that you're sticking around. And they're talking about cleaners. I'm just getting caught up to make sure. Um, and when I'm not entirely sure if you guys are talking about the Mohs hardness scale for these guys, but I was really surprised. Have you cut any of these, Jeff?
No.
So I was really surprised um, at how hard it was. So here's this guy, and this is actually the
That one's
cross
from
section.
Ohio.
This is the cross section of the one that we were just seeing before. That's
No,
that's
no. Oh,
this is
okay.
this
That looked
that's
like
sheared.
from after it's cut, it looks like the stuff from Ohio.
Yeah, let me give you an example
Oh, that's
here.
interesting.
Yeah, isn't it? So let me do this again. Ba-doop. Oh, let me get that off
That's
there
gonna be
too.
crazy in the UV right there. Have you already
Yeah,
looked
that's
at it?
one of the reasons why I wanted to do it. I was like, okay, this is good. It's going down. And so this is what it looked like uh in that picture. That's that guy. And the other side also having like plenty of super fun stuff going on. You can see a nice little crinoid right there, like a little crinoid spine. And so I cut it in half and we've got that. And it's really colorful. It's stunning. I love it. And so once we get it underneath the microscope, we're going to get
Did
to
you polish
see.
it too?
No, I put water on it.
Oh, okay.
But it, like, the blade. Here's what I was like, the hardness thing made me think of this. It's hard. This would take a polish so nice, and you can see, like, those, the lighter bits, like these little guys, these really, really light bits, I believe those are crinoids, and they've got a different shape than these guys over here that, are more kinda coral looking. I mean, this has constituents upon constituents. It was just really, really cool. There were screes and excited sounds going on when I was sawing this bad boy in half. I'm like, sometimes it's a dud and you're like, okay, I got it. That's fine. But like that was super neat. I do endorse cutting some of your material, and I think it'll take a fabulous shine, kind of like a Petoskey stone.
I do have some that is it's too brittle and like I said, just spraying them off, they were falling apart. But I have more that are thick like that that are just I just tossed them out in the yard and it was like thud. They're just heavy
Those
and
would be the ones.
hard and you know
Yeah.
she could probably hear Vicky could probably hear it inside when I dropped a couple of those on the front yard there.
And so, kids like microscope, microscope, microscope. I know, right? You know me. And so, let's go back to, okay, so microscope, guys. So this is that fossil plate that we were just looking at. This is at 40x, and this is into, one of the centers of one of those guys, and you can see all the cellular structure, and it is so colorful. So again, with all the schmaltz of the, earth that encased it, it's somewhat lackluster in color, and it's just not fair. It's underselling its beauty by a huge degree because again, I haven't polished this because I literally did this, I don't know, I cut it open about an hour or two before we went live. Like, I'm cutting that bad boy, and I was like, oh, it's, score, I
I'm
better
glad
take
you did. That's pretty cool. Now I might have to cut a couple of them.
Yeah, yeah. And so we'll go for some instant gratification, and we'll look at the inside of this guy, and then we can kind of look at some of the trains of the other guys if that's what you want to do. Yeah, we got some wows and some beautiful stuff. Thank you, Sonia and Ellison and Afia Raka and Jake. Oh, good to see you. I don't think I said hello to you. Thanks for being here tonight. There's calligraphy jasper, elephant skin jasper, snake skin jasper, and I'll get their patterns from dead shells and stuff. Yes, thank you for that. I should put that up there really quick. And so we do owe these organisms quite a bit for making some beautiful different kinds of jaspers, and surely some of this, like, I did not expect to cut this open and have it be so sort of gem worthy. And so I can't wait to polish some of this. I have a weakness for of course all things fossil, and so I can't wait to. I'll probably end up wearing some of this if I'm being honest. Okay, so yes, we want to see the scope pics. Okay, so
Do you
let's
mind
do
if
this.
I say something real quick?
I would love for you to.
I was just looking at the chat there and I seen Twister's comment about having a sale. Uh, I haven't investigated the laws for collecting and stuff like that. Uh, as far as sales go in Kentucky, I don't think that there's a problem with selling the stuff. But as far as I'm concerned, I can find that stuff like nobody's business. There's tons of it. I mean, literally multiple road cuts I could hit, multiple different roads, throughout northern Kentucky, and I know a creek that's miles and miles long that's just loaded with this stuff. So, and that's in Ohio. I can go up there too. So I don't want to sell that stuff. I'll just if you want to pay for shipping, just send us a message. jmvrockhounding at gmail.com. Pay for shipping and I'll send it. I don't care.
That's
If
awesome.
if I
And
run out,
John,
I'll go get more.
right? And John also brings up a really, really good point right here. A lot of us get a wonderful feeling out of, okay, I can only share my stuff. Like, especially if I'm finding stuff from the beach, I can only share it. I cannot sell that. It takes a quite a difficult permit to be able to attain, and so I share it. And that's what John is saying, is like, oh, you can make, rock box trades. And that's also a really, really good way to be able to share the wealth. And so I appreciate that. Um, and and so yeah, Jeff is saying shipping, or you'd have to, of course, have somebody agree that like they're into sharing with you. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over here, and there's the setup for the microscope, and that was just from when I took the picture. And here we have it, like it's magic. Here it is. And so we can kind of cruise around here on this slab a little bit. There's our big O that we were just looking at. And let me get rid of our exposure box.
It
And
almost looks corally.
it's very corally. And I don't know, like, I'll draw your attention to center, but higher than our big white kind of oblong oval there. You can see that there's some of the coral or whatever cellular structure that is permineralized differently. Like, it's oranges and yellows, whereas we have the big bright whites. And you can see some crystalline stuff over there. There's a ridgeline of crystalline looking shapes there to the left. I'm going to move it, but I mean, all these things that are going on inside this is like microscope haver's dream. Um, let's
I got to
see.
get a microscope.
Yep.
Oh, Vicky.
I need to, I like, that's one of the things that it would behoove me to have some kind of an affiliation with, because it's it's so cool. Let me get back up to this spray. I'm sorry, directionally, this is always interesting. There we go. I just wanted to. So we were looking that big elongated O. I suspect that it is this guy, this kind of growth, but we're seeing it from a different vantage point. So we're seeing down like the line of it now, instead of seeing, like, say, the top portion of it, if it was cut in half from head to toe type thing. And so we're seeing these beautiful long sprays of it. And because one of the reasons why I like to cut stuff in half is that we get rid of a lot of topography. So when you're trying to bring things into focus, it focuses. When you have like things that are tall and things that are short, like all next to each other, then you run into a lot of problems with it being able to see it at all, because you can never get all of it in focus all at once. And so if I go over here, it's kind of funny. Me being into the foraminifera. It's funny. It's directionally wrong. So it's you feel like you're going in the right direction, and of course you're going in the opposite direction than you're trying. There we go. Okay, so we have something that is totally different, that is kind of framed in red there. But I wanted to also draw your attention to all of these little bodies. Like we have the big white bodies. I think that those are crinoids. And then some more of that like coral or whatever that is, the bryozoa. And then we've got like a seed pod looking thing. We've got a great big semicircle thing at the very bottom. And then like another sort of sea pod with a halo over to the right with a square. And these are the things that you're looking for when you're looking for forams, because oftentimes, forams are single-celled fossil structures, and they're usually quite old. And
I see a grinning alien.
a grinning alien, I totally see that. Oh, that's great. I'm shaking the whole thing because I'm laughing. I totally see what you're seeing too. It's like kind of strange-eyed alien. And so again, it changes color so much. You have to wonder, even chemically, what in the world was going on here? Um, you can see the scrapes from my saw, but like how neat that we have these like uh again these dark lines that are coming up through look like they've got the same kind of consistency as our very very white pieces of coral or bryozoa. So, what's going on with them, and why did they uh catch such crazy color? And we come over here to this beautiful warm zone with all these reds where we just had greens and blues. I mean, this thing has it all. And I love the little like strawberry skin of so much of this coral like cruising through this thing. And if I was looking again, we're only at 40x. And so if we look at all of that um, kind of yellow and orange material that's in between these guys, I'm thinking that we could find a lot in there just at a very much higher magnification. And so there's those guys. Look at that. What's going on with that? Who is growing there that made all those colors and those interesting lines happen? Let's see. I'm just gonna check the chat really quick. Yeah, Afia Rocco was saying that he was winking at us. Iron staining. Yeah, definitely possible. Frosty the Snowman is winking at Rocky. Winking, says Geo Rocks as well, for sure. There was one type of called Black Galaxy that was just full of garnets against a black matrix. Wow, that sounds really, really pretty. All right. And so that is what wow, the
I never even thought to cut these like this. To look
yeah,
at
and
them.
considering that this is just wet, these colors, that's what it would look like if you took it to a high polish. And so I know I'm going to, uh, of course, you're going to see it from way back. Let's see if we can get, so um, we might even be able to get back a little bit farther. That's about as far back as we can get, um, which is we're now at about uh between like probably about 5x right now. And yeah, so you could definitely frame a cab on some of that material and shine it up and make it just be incredibly beautiful, I think. And then actually we have the other side, had some other things going on, like whoa, going this other way. Oh, I hate that when that happens. I can't I can't go the right way. And that's now in the glare, but you can see the crinoid is that white that's kind of being circled by the halo of the microscope. And it's starting to dry out, but that's kind of cool too. All right. And so let's go back to us, and I can change Is there a plate in particular that you'd like me to put underneath, Jeff?
I don't even remember what I sent you.
I know.
I just, I thought, okay, I was sorting through them. I was like, okay, I want a little mix of this. I want this one to be all that. I want that one to be all this, and I just started picking cool things out and thought you would like it. So,
Oh, and I do. I thank you so much. Such generosity here. The entire box, I just kept on, it was all up breaths and
you should look at
just
the video
so
Cheryl
excited.
did of the stuff I sent her.
I will
She loves it
definitely
too. And man, the UV was crazy on them.
check that out. And so let's see.
I need to
I'm just
send some
gonna,
to Theo. I'd like to see him prep some.
yeah, for sure. Um, I wonder if he's still in the house, Theo. Are you still here? So here's the Kentucky fried jaspaggot. We're not sure what to call it. Um, and I'm just holding it by hand. So sorry if it's dancing a bit, but I know Ken was talking about feeling like that one in the middle that you can see that like looks a little bit more hexagonal than orbicular. He wanted to see this, I think. So I mean, how beautiful is that? That's so pretty.
Yeah, some of them I've cut that it looks like a nebula or something.
Yeah. I love this kind of material. Because it never gets old. Like so much of it is different from itself that you keep on cutting and you're like, wow, you just got good. Ooh, you just got better, and like you said, like nebulas and galaxies and aurora borealis. Wow, those are really cool. Wonder if I can set something up so that it doesn't dance, so that I don't have to hold it. All right. Chat amongst yourselves for a minute. I have rocks here that I can prop this up with. Oh, hello. That's very blue.
Yeah, see, Chris don't even remember I sent him this stuff. I sent him and Tyler both almost identical boxes with a bunch of stuff, and he don't even remember. He was showing something the other day in one of his lives, and I was like, "Yeah, I sent that to you." Oh yeah, I sent that to you too.
Isn't that crazy? Oh my gosh. Well, some people again like trade so much rocks that you lose track and you can't remember who's got what and who wants more of something, and it's an easy problem to run into in this
I'm
community.
the kind of person, the more I like somebody, the more down the road I'll give them heart of a
Nice.
time. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Let's see. There we go. There's our superstar. All right. Let's bring you a little bit. Who wants to get closer? Bring that back into the center of the stage a bit. Gosh, those are so pretty. Here we are talking about the coral reefs and stuff. And doesn't that look like, sea anemone or something? It looks so much like some inhabitants of the reefs that we have just around here that I get to see when I go rockhounding
I've
in
never
the
got to look at those that close. My eyes ain't good enough. Even my bifocals.
Well, let me treat you to a tour of your material, sir. I'm gonna improve our exposure here a little bit, just so that we can see it was getting a little dark. As you get closer, um, to a specimen, like the more magnification, like the more light that it needs, and I'm sure you guys would totally understand that, but I don't mean to flash you out, but I mean, that is just gorgeous, like, getting even closer. Look at the filigree, like, almost lace-like tattling around our little bullseye there. Like, the inside of the bullseye has, like, crystal lace to it. Bring that into the
Did you look
middle.
at the outside of this, like the exterior of these rocks?
I did, it almost looks like angel
It's
wing. It's so
it's
pretty.
it's like in that very first video when I first found it, I thought it was like a sea maggot, you know,
Uh-huh.
and that's what it reminded me of is stuff like almost like graveyard point or some of these
Mm.
sea maggots you see. But there's no banding. It's just it's got whatever you want to call that is in it. You know, it's not really a moss. I don't think. I don't even know. It's just wispy.
It's like a blossom. Um, wow, I just turned up the contrast and it like gave us like ultra saturation. It's lying. Just want to bring that down just a little bit. No, it's going to saturate that out. How neat. I mean, it is kind of that red actually, guys. When I look over, I try to, color correct and I look over and when it's wet, like once it's polished, yeah, it's getting into all of those pretty hot colors. How nice.
Yeah.
Um,
And then there's
and
such a contrast because it's like fire and ice. I want to start calling it fire and ice agate.
there you go. That's definitely better than Kentucky stuff, right?
Yeah.
Not the best street name, maybe. Show up at Tucson with Kentucky stuff. Here's another one. I'm just trying to figure out like if we can see any determining things about at this magnification, probably not as far as anything that would determine exactly what um, mineral we're looking at. Although it seems like we also, I'm catching like some little sparklies in there. And I don't think that that's left over from the water. You see the sparkles? I'm wondering if like there's little bits of, in graveyard point stuff, we have marcasite. And so especially when you bring it under the microscope, you get to see the marcasite. This might have a lot in common with our graveyard point stuff. Look at that. How fancy is that? Let me get that wet again.
It forms in a, like a gray shale clay layer, and so
Pretty.
does. But it's not. That material isn't particularly nodular, but there's nodules in the same layer that can
Oh,
be uh, very crystalline. So I don't know.
wow. Let me get rid of the exposure box. Look at all of those little, like it's almost like it's botryoidal. You've got all these little blah 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 little bubble bots going on from the way that this is cut. How fabulous! It looks like Silverback's in the house. Good to see you. Welcome in. We're looking at some Kentucky material that Jeff was so generous to send me, and we're looking at it under the microscope. He cut it, but wow, am I ever glad that you did because this is so neat.
Did I send you
Um,
some that wasn't cut? I think I did. I don't remember.
I think it's all.
I sent you several pieces that were cut, but
Oh, okay. So I got a this lump that we're looking at, and it's about the size of half of a fist. And then I have another piece that is, let me go and do this. Let's do this really quick. So this piece, which is really super pretty,
yeah,
um, and then the piece that we're looking at, and no others. And so I hope that there wasn't more in there because it might have
I don't
escaped.
remember.
But I'm gonna have a whole lot of fun with that for sure. Um, and so let's see. We can look at if you
I've got
guys.
pieces of that stuff that is like probably 40 or 50 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
I've
Yeah,
got some
that
huge chunks of it.
is some
I've got a
amazingly
bunch of
cool
smaller
stuff.
chunks too, but I mean, I've got some big chunks.
All right. If we can get far enough away from this to be able to see what you were talking about with the texture. It's kind of hard to get away from a subject with a microscope, but at the very least, you can see this is the rind on the outside. And it's like it's kind of frog skin like. It's really cool. Let me see if after I'm done bouncing around, if I can get that into some focus for
Some
you.
of it can have that red and on the outside too, and that's
So
what
there's some
drew me
dots.
to it, because you'll see that gray, and then down in some of the cracks and some portions of it, it's got that red, and then you'll see down some of the other cracks that you'll see the blue coming through.
Thanks for coming by, Gio. Look at that. That's the outside, you guys. Look at how fancy. I mean, it's like got bots on bots on bots on bots because there's like some teeny weeny ones like right there. You see those little guys? And then, oh wow, that's just really gorgeous. And so would you say that a lot of the stuff that you see uh does it have this kind of outside to it, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a bit of it. Some of it's even rougher than that, sort of more angel wingy like you're talking about, but yeah, there's a lot of it it's got that really worn, weathered look to it. I don't know how to describe it. Like
Sean.
you're seeing.
Yeah, yeah. This is and so you kind of saw it like when I held it up, guys, what the dry rock looks like. This is one of those rocks where if you were rock hounding and it was either a super dry, dusty day or a super muddy day, you probably would not have any clue what you had, right? Am I
Yeah,
right,
you
Jeff?
wouldn't. I mean, I found a few pieces that had big windows on it, and that's what clued me in, because I would never even would have looked at that stuff. But then I started finding the ones with windows, and I paid attention to what the outside, the exterior looked like, and I started looking around, and that stuff was just everywhere. I mean,
And
you could
it's
just find it all over.
And it's got so much silicate content. I mean, you can tell
Yeah,
even though this is just wet, like you can tell by the way that this is formed on the outside that it's just like jummy gooey. It's so
yeah, the light
delicious.
goes right through it.
Wow. Oh, that's
At least
fantastic.
the stuff that's on the inside of it. You know, the the more I mean, it's chalcedony, right? There's no banding per se, so I don't guess you can
Yeah.
call it agate unless unless it, I don't know, unless you want to call it a moss agate, or it's not really plumy either. So I don't know. Kentucky stuff.
It's Kentucky stuff, but it's special, you guys. Again, oh, it's got washed out. Yeah, so there's like windows that look a little bit more chalcedony gemmy, and then it just it is layered like I think John had mentioned, where it kind of gets into just a lot of different colors, less transparent. It's going to be fun to cut more of it and to work some of it, do some cabbing with it, and see, how the layers work. I love stone like this though, because has the tendency as you're polishing to change color on you because you're hitting
A-
different
Ask
layers.
Allison how, because
Allison, are you still in the house?
she cabbed. I don't know. She sent us one of the cabs back that
Oh,
she
nice.
made of the material we sent her. So, and it's pretty cab. I mean, it. I think the piece she sent us was a piece that was more from the towards the exterior. So it's got more of the reddish, pinkish looking colors to it. And you can see some of the little orbs and stuff like that. But the more you
Mm,
get towards that blue, the more it's almost like a more pure chalcedony, I think.
how interesting. That's
So,
so yeah, like I always love to think about how something was formed and how the outside had like whatever was making those orbs and more of the maybe the iron or manganese or whatever was like tinting it. And then as you go through the center, it got more and more pure. And so
yeah.
you have like just the pure chalcedony that's getting filtered, if you will, through smaller ways into the stone until it's all filled up. I mean, I just love thinking about the formation. That's so cool. And Mike is in the house. Welcome to the ozone, the microzone. Thanks for coming by. And you guys are all talking about me getting smashed. I know. Don't smash me like a bug. Just smash the like button, right? Thanks. And Allison is saying that it was fun stuff. And Allison, do you have that on a video? Is there a video that we can have people go watch so that they can see what the material looks like polished? That would be really, really cool. Um, yeah, or orbicular is a word that I stumble on, Twister. If anybody knows, like, it's definitely
I'll pull out that cab and have Vicky do a short
that
on the
would
cab
be
that Allison made for us.
that would be great. All right. You know what I didn't do? And uh, I'm surprised that you guys didn't shout at me. We're going to go back to the cut specimen and we're going to blacklight it, UV it. Okay.
Also, I'll share in Discord. I have some pictures of cabs that Kentucky Rockhound Mike made, and because when I shared that material to him, he's like, "Oh yeah, you found that at such and such road cut," and I'm like, "How did you know that?" Because he lives about an
Whoa.
hour away from that, an hour and a half away from that spot, and he knew exactly where I found it at. Because I haven't found it, I haven't seen that material anywhere else but right there at that road cut. So yeah, he already knew, and he collected some and made cabs out of it. And I'll show you. I'll share in Discord some of the cabs
Oh, that
pictures.
would be
I think I
great.
did share it in Lapidary Lounge at one point, but I don't think I've shared it in the podcast
Yeah,
Discord.
bring it on over. We'd love to see that. That would be cool.
But yeah, they're pretty cabs.
Nice. All right. So we're back here. Let's see. Can I do that? And it's blurry. Let's bring it back into focus because we want to see that under the UV, right, guys? And so it's the way that I should probably just change the
Nah,
camera.
we don't need no thinking UV.
Everybody's always begging for it. There we go. All right. So I'm gonna bring the lights down low and let's see about what this thing does. So that's some nice, get it all the way dark. And hold on. Nobody freak out. Don't be afraid of the dark, guys. Everybody's safe. Let's try
Yeah,
that.
I'm gonna send Kyle a couple of these death plates too. Kyle, if you want some of this that Kentucky stuff, I can send you some of that stuff
Quote
too.
unquote. So it
There's an idea. I can send Kyle some. He can use some for himself, and then he could also add some to giveaways or to some of the uh, uh, auctions or something.
how nice. Yeah, that's a supremely cool gesture. And so I got a lot of purple in my light, but what I'm seeing in real life is a lot of orange. And so it seems like there's some calcite to this. Like when I move it away, you guys can see a bit more of the orange happening. I definitely need a more filtered light, but that's pretty. And there's little bits that are standing out more than others. You can kind of see the swirly bits. Let me see if I can get the swirly bits at the bottom of the screen into a little bit more. Let's see. That's about as in focus. But do you see how they're being outlined? Those little smaller bits? Maybe we can get those a little bit into the center. And yeah, wow. It's like they're outlined. I think that was one of your smiling aliens that is now smiling at us in a different way. Let's see if we can get closer. And try to, there we go. Wow. Okay. So that swirly bit, I thought that was just a line, and it turns out that that's like the top of another like sea anemone corally guy. Oh, it's so cool when you can get close and like make out what the little guys are. Let's get closer. Like they just looked like flowers, and there we go. Wow. That is cool. I'm like high centered on that little flower to the right. That's right underneath the big white blob. That's pretty neat. Let's see how much closer we can get. Very much closer. But we lose our focus. That's about it. Wow. That's cool. Did you want me to do the other side of one of the death plates, Jeff?
Sure.
Okay.
I know
So
when Cheryl, any of you know me, are not going to believe this, but I didn't even hit any of these with UV. Even after Ken, talked about how UV the stuff I gave him was down there. You know, I need to get a better UV, for outside and longer distances and stuff like that. But
right,
I
the
already
like
I already
the
knew that they were going to be UV, so
uh-huh. Let's see.
that's probably how I'll pick the ones I keep for myself.
Ah, there you go.
I'll go out with the UV and be like, okay, yeah, I think I'll keep that one. Yep.
Yeah, the ones that light up spectacularly. And the stuff that mostly comes out are orange, although it seems to be pretty purple because, like I said before, I need a more filtered UV light. I'm trying to, you can see the just in the dim light, the texture of the coral there. And that's really lighting those up. It's
I don't know
frying
if
it.
it's my phone. It just looks kind of purple,
Yep, very purple.
pinkish.
Yep. It's not just your phone. It's mostly this light. It's not got a filter on it, and so it's kind of frying it underneath the microscope. What I see is I can see the color. Like I can see that the crinoid is that guy there. That thing
Oh
is,
yeah, that's bright.
yeah, super bright. And there's some subtleties that we're missing, and it's just because there's not a filter on this guy. See if I can see a spray of something right there above it too. And that's what's reactive. Let me see if I can get out.
I wonder if that wouldn't be uh, part of the calyx, the crinoid
Uh-huh.
calyx or something maybe.
Yeah.
That spray looking area.
Oh, that would be
You know,
cool. Yeah.
you got so many crinoids in it.
Oh,
That would
yeah.
be that'd be super cool to find a good fossilized calyx like that. I've got several, and I sent one to Allison. She loves it. Uh, geodized crinoid calyxes. I've got several of
Wow.
those still, and I sent her one, and she I don't know if she cracked it or she cut it. I can't remember now, but she loved it.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's pretty cool. You can get out. Yeah, it's about as far out as we can get. And so that's what it looks like. Let's take the light up a bit and we'll get the exposure back. So anybody want to try to guess? You think that that's maybe a calyx, guys? I think it's possible. I don't have an eye for these fossils. This is out of my department entirely. But that's just so fascinating. And I don't know, maybe that like now that might do crinoids have like that tiny cellular structure to them also?
Uh, I've never looked at one close enough to know. But
Kyle's here.
I don't know if you knew this about crinoids, but you know how they're segmented, right? I don't know if you know that, but they're like
Yeah.
segmented. They Cherokees used to take those, and I'm sure other Native Americans used to take those, and they would make those in just the smallest little segments, and they would make beads and necklaces and jewelry and stuff like that out of those.
Very cool. Well, I what I'll have to do. I mean, it looks like a crinoid from my point of view, bare naked eye. And so I'm gonna have to like assess all of the ones that I have and
I'm not sure that
look at
is a
them all.
crinoid because it's not. Most of them crinoids are like from that view would be very round.
Uh-huh.
But
And this
I
is kind
guess
of
I've
more
seen some
oblong.
that are pretty been flattened out, so I don't know. If you look at some of that one that's not that you didn't cut, that's it's got
The
all kinds
spaghettios.
of yeah, yeah. If you look at that one, kind
Let's
of
get the spaghettios on underneath here.
you can
There's a
see
spaghettio.
there's so many in that one, and they're some of them are you're looking at it from the end, some of them you're looking at it from the side, and you can see the segmentations on the ones that's on the from looking at it from the side.
So I think I'm gonna have to reorient the camera because that's maybe just pan out. Nope, that's it.
Didn't I
Because
send
it's
you
not.
like a little bitty fragment of a piece that's like half dollar size maybe that was wafer thin and it had like a multitude of little tiny little crinoids on it.
I didn't see that.
It might have
I
came
wonder if
out.
that
I don't
got
know.
away. That might have got away.
The post office. Psst.
I know, right? Ugh. That's my whoops, where did you go? There we go.
But Jackie had a great suggestion that I never thought of, and that's to put a box inside of the box with the stuff in it, and that would make it thicker, double walled, I guess.
You can do that or even
I don't know why I
with a
didn't
lot
think
of
about it because Family Stones ships a lot of their stuff like that. That's how I get
yeah.
stuff from them, which I ain't bought from them in a while. But
Yeah, to catch y'all up, there were two holes in my box. And so my box was perforated. That's it's too far away. Let's put you on somebody else. Um And so, unfortunately, I didn't get the whole package. But, so hello, there's a little star right there, a little crinoid smiling up at us in a brachiopod right next door. And so we're gonna zoom in. We're gonna have a look at some of these guys, and they look very different from what we were just looking at. So, I mean, it's like a completely different uh, kind of cellular structure entirely to the body of these crinoids as opposed to what we were looking at before. So maybe that was just a piece of coral of some kind or something. Yeah. And there's the other one that we were just looking at. And a lot of the uh, forums look so much like this. Like the the crinoids are perhaps related. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm trying to get the O in the center. Here we go. Now we can see too. Um, yeah, we get right up in there, and it doesn't have anywhere near the same kind of cellular structure as what we were looking at before. And we can take that down just a tiny bit. Whoa, over here.
but then again, it might just be so much sediment on top of it you can't see it.
That's true. That is true since we're looking at the outside as opposed to the inside. It's making me want to cut everything. But, like, I love the specimens the way that they are too. This one's got a little belly button. Like, I love the ones that are like stars. But has anybody been this close to a crinoid before? Yeah, that's not
I
even
wish
that
I was
close.
home and looking at this on my big screen.
You can. When you get home. When you get home, you can see it. There we go. Here it comes. So that's showing like that it's made pretty like tightly of something as opposed to um, as opposed to it maybe having, like those large cells like the coral has. And Ken's going good night. And Mike, did I say hi? Thank you for coming. Double box next time. Oh, I was going to say a bag, even, just like a bag will hold the contents in. If the box breaks, then, you still have a bag that won't let stuff fall out. And let's see. Oh, it's okay, Vicky. Oh, no worries. I've had like some pretty crazy stuff from the post office happen. Used to ship a lot when I had a gallery, and so I've seen it all, and it happens, and it's okay. You guys also here. I don't know if you can see my cursor. Maybe not. There is like this oblong guy right next to our big crinoid that like this is probably a forum right here. That's kind of exciting to me. That looks like odd enough. Um, let's see. Yeah, it does. It sucks journeys, but it's how the cookie crumbles. And I'll go back through and make sure that there isn't the small piece, Jeff. But I didn't have any small things to unwrap. Was it wrapped with something else, Jeff?
I don't remember. Vicky
Yeah,
wrapped everything. I was already on the road. I
gotcha.
just kind of put stuff together and said, hey, do me a favor and pack this up and send it to Karen. So
Gotcha. Yeah.
Vicky's the champ with the boxing and wrapping and stuff.
Yeah, I applaud you, Vicky. It's like that is a hard job, and I know Kyle applauds you as well because boy, it takes a lot to. That's one of the hardest things I think about being in business via online sales is like all of the shipping. It's like I kind of dread my shipping days for sure. Theo says you can summarize every echinoderm with two words, radial symmetry. So true. I love that. That's something that no matter what you're looking at, even in with the naked eye, with a death plate, all the way through to microscopy, you can tell because of the symmetry. It's wonderful. Um,
I don't
and
think I think Theo left before he saw the horn coral chunk.
the one
I
at the
think
very very beginning.
yeah,
Theo, did you get to see the big chunk of horn coral at the very very beginning? Were you still here,
I
or did
want to see
you
him prep one of them.
split? I wonder. Okay, like let me see if I can go back
I think
to
he done
those
left again.
slides. Yeah, well, yeah, he's totally got crazy lots of stuff going on as per tradition. And I'm wondering, is that preppable? Or is that like mostly trace fossil, or how are you feeling about that, Thea? What do you think? I've got another one that you can kind of see here too.
Let me find it. There it is. This thing, Theo, is
Here, let me get
loaded
you. Let
with
me get you bigger. There you go.
this thing is loaded with horn coral fossils. It's like a death plate chunk, and I've got a bunch of them, and I thought I'd send you one. And some of those death plates, like Karen's, I sent her. But I just collected this stuff Monday, so I wasn't able to send her any of that. but there's just, I mean, everywhere you look on this thing, it's loaded with horn coral. So
Yeah, that is such a cool specimen. I love the one to the right in the slide that just has such interesting
the
body
piece came
composition.
off of it.
Oh, wow.
I don't
So
know if there's
so
anything in it, but
right, I was gonna say, what you have in your hand, does it feel like it's maybe one of the corals that broke
no,
off?
no, it's just part of the matrix, I guess. But there might be some other fossils in it.
Oh, I'm sure there are.
I'd have to look at it
Microfossils at
closer.
the very least. Yeah, so Theo is saying that looks like it would be potentially preppable. Dang, that's awesome. He says, I'd be moving real slow with how hollow it is, very delicate. Yeah, that was what I was wondering if it was mostly trace, but I mean,
I think
how
the matrix in those is, I think it might be limestone. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure it's limestone. So I mean, it's fairly hard material, and there's just every one of them I picked up. I've got like 8 or 10 of them at least, if not 15. uh, yeah, they're all like just solid, super solid chunks and completely loaded with those things.
right on. Yeah, that's awesome. All right. Okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing those. And as I go along, I think that I'll be finding even more stuff that I'll be able to share with people. Like, I haven't had a chance to even bring every single one of those pieces under the microscope. And like I said, today I just got, it dawned on me, oh my gosh, I need to cut one. And that's been incredible. You usually see more when you polish than just cut because you still have a lot of rough edges from like the crystalline structure and everything. But I really thank you for sharing and then sharing all of your time today, Jeff.
Oh, I sit around, especially if it's after dark. I ain't got nothing to do. I sit and watch rock videos. That's all I do nowadays. I don't watch hardly any other TV anymore. I subscribe to, I bet you it's over 100 channels.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
anybody that comes up with anything new, I'm watching. And once I'm caught up with everything that's new, then I'm going back through other people's stuff. Anybody that just shows up. I've been watching a lot of Jared's stuff and Theo's stuff and just a bunch of, all kinds of just anything. I love the hounding videos especially. So, because I want to come out there, and so I think it's like, I don't know if any of you saw the video I just did, but I found some Crowley Ridge agates. Now these aren't the best Crowley Ridge that I found, but it's Crowley Ridge is the only true agate that I've actually found, and uh, I learned how to recognize them from watching Will Bond, uh, Will Bond, and a couple other gravel bar hopper, watching some of their video content, and as soon as I seen one when I was at this one location, I recognized it right away. So it's like if I ever come to the Yellowstone, I think I'll be able to find this stuff. If I
Oh,
ever come
nice.
up, if I ever come up to Oregon, I'll be able to, spot some of those bones and some of the steinkerns and stuff like that,
Absolutely.
because I
Yeah,
watch
isn't
so
that
much
cool
and I see it.
to hound vicariously? I mean, that
Yeah,
really is the cool thing about, watching everybody's videos and getting your eyes on the stuff so you can train them to have, like, the agate eyes or the fossil eyes, for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Mike says, I have a limestone death plate from my local, and the fossils are not limestone. I will try my best to prep it. Any tips? I only have a Dremel. Will that work? What do you think for Mike and Theo? You might want to weigh in on this question as well. Um, if and from my experience, like prepping with the Dremel is difficult. And I can get away with it on small specimens like the shells. And then you kind of start getting into air scribe town. And it also depends very much on what the matrix is like. If your limestone is pliable, then sure. If the limestone is really, kind of porcelain hard, then probably it's going to have to be Dremel or scribe. But like with the Kemmerer fossil plates, you barely need anything more than like a dental pick. It's nice. It expedites the prep a lot faster if you have an engraving tool, or something kind of like a scribe. Uh,
Is the
you know, like
stuff at Kimmerer, is that limestone?
that's a sedimentary rock. So I mean, I guess Kyle, is
I
that
thought it
is
was more
that
like
lime?
almost like a sandstone or something.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll be honest, and I don't know the exact constituents of it.
The way it
And
splits in those layers like that, I know this limestone, like, well, if this is limestone, this stuff does not split like that. I mean, it just, you know,
right. Yeah, it's a lot more concrete-ish. Um,
we do have some material. Matter of fact, in some of those road cuts, there was some material that splits apart like that, but it's more clay based, I think. And uh, I actually tried to split some of it apart, hoping to see some leaves or some kind of plant fossil in between some of the layers, but I didn't see any. But that don't mean it's not there with that kind of
yeah,
material.
yeah. Yeah, good assessment. And Theo has weighed in about the Dremel, and like definitely in specific circumstances, it works. If you imagine a rotary tool is going to be grinder, and a pneumatic tool like the Air Scribe is more of a punctuated jarring the material loose, like a teeny weeny jackhammer. And so, grinding away kind of approach is good for some things, whereas it's not good for other things. It's great for removing the matrix from the fossil shells, and that works for me. But like from some of the other things, like the bone and the crabs and stuff like that, definitely the little mini jackhammer is the way to go. And then, like I said, you can do it with a dental tool for the Kemmerer fossils. And so, boy, it sure does, it matters. So he says it depends heavily on the individual fossil. Usually Dremel is a bit touchy because it doesn't naturally flake the material, so it can be tricky. So you're grinding away. So if only like mashing the material down until you get to the actual fossil, and then sometimes abrading some of that off before you're at the fossil. So it can be touchy, but I mean, certainly doable if you're very careful and go slow, I guess. Um, yeah, Mike, get an air scribe. Come to the dark side and join us all getting air scribes. I think Jeff is gonna put that on his list. What do you think, Jeff?
Microscope, air scribe, 24-inch saw, cabin machine. The list goes on.
A tablet so that you can do lives from your truck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tablet or laptop.
Yeah, your birthday wishes list is getting very long at this point. Um, all right.
I
Uh,
can't ask for nothing for any time soon though, because she bought me a house. So
oh, okay. So you're
sucks to
on
throw
a
that up.
wishing timeout a little bit. Well, that sounds very generous. Awesome, awesome, Vicky. Um, and again, thank you. I'll let you go, Jeff. Thanks again for coming on the live crowd.
Thanks for
All
having me.
thanks to you as well. Cheers. It was good finally meeting you, having you
You
here
too.
and sharing your fossils. Thanks again, Vicky and Jeff. And go check out their videos. I'll put a link in the description so that you guys can all have the easy access to their videos. Cheers, and
Okay, see you later.
we'll see ya.
I'll come get in the chat.
All right, perfect. All right, and so we're gonna go ahead and wrap up really quick with a few of the finds from the video that was earlier today, as promised. I did want to show. um, we got the really surprising piece of jasper, and if you saw the video earlier today, I really wondered if it was rhyolite actually, because it has uh, those of you familiar with rhyolite, it has like the flecks of crystal throughout it. Like the silicates are flashy, like some of the rhyolite that we have that encases our thunder eggs and that sort of thing. In fact, it looks very much like some of the thunder egg casing, and that doesn't surprise since we're here in Oregon with lots of that material. So I would be honestly interested in knowing what you guys think about the the way that the jasper looked that we cut open during the video earlier. And there's Jeff right there in the chat. It's like magic. um, and so actually we can take a really quick look at this underneath the microscope, and there's a chance that we'll see the flash that I was talking about. Um, let's see. We've got some blur, and let's get closer and we can do this. Thank you for that. And Theo's saying that he has a fabulous or a metal engraver that he uses for the fish. That's fantastic. Yeah. And that's what I was talking about is an engraver for the material from Kemmerer is all you need for sure. And that's what I've been using on the heavy lifting portion. And then when I get close to the fossil itself, I've been using dental tools, and my favorite thing is a solder pick, a titanium solder pick. It's just like the magical wand. So here is the jasper underneath the microscope, and I think we can pan out a little bit. You can see uh, there's some crystal sprays. Like there's a whole kind of crystal blossom right there, actually. Woo! And that's what I was seeing that kind of like reminded me of ocean jasper or rhyolite. Having one heck of a time getting things into the right frame tonight. That you can see those two sprays looking up at us like owl eyes. And boy, if that doesn't have the look of rhyolite, especially now that we get close. Oops. This is trying to, I changed the camera level, and so it's a bit challenging getting my focus on again tonight, but there is our little world. And so there's chunks of what look like, big crystal formations of silicates, and then we have these guys. And boy, those radial blooms are just so pretty. So thoughts, anyone? I love it. Everybody's thanking Jeff, and we're still kind of on the engraver conversation. And so we've got this suggestion from John on Amazon, and I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but those pens are as cheap as $13 and would work the same, one would think. And so yeah, and I think that you're talking about an engraving tool there, and yeah, those yes, engraving pen, yes, John. And so, yeah, those seem to be a good alternative, especially for people that are going to be working the soft matrix of just something like the Kemmerer fossils. I know that there were several people that got prep fish from Kemmerer from Theo on the live stream sale that he just had to to play with, to try their hand at prep. And so this is not going to take any fancy equipment from you guys at all. I just like an engraving tool like that is the most that you need. And when I got started with them, some that my brother and my mom brought me, I didn't have any special tools at all. I literally just used dental tools and the the soldering pick and had a great time. So it was no problem with easy stuff. And then Theo is saying that microabrasion comes into play when it's soft but not brittle. Any tool will just dig in, but if it's solid, it should flake theoretically. And that's a good assessment, kind of getting your mind around what your objective is when you are going in to do the fossil prep. That Opal guy is in the house. Good to see you. Thank you for dropping by. We're chatting about a piece of jasper that I found on the beach, and it's got some beautiful mineral sprays inside it, which was kind of reminding me of rhyolite. And so we took a closer look to see. And Twister's saying that she can't tell jasper from rhyolite, which is absolutely fine. I think that a lot of times you really need to get your eyes on a lot of material before you start recognizing this from that. Like I was looking at the fossils that Kent had on his table, and I could tell some of the fossils that came from one beach against some of the fossils that come from another beach because they have different matrix. And that was like the first time I had really made that delineation for myself. I was like, wow, okay. I guess I reached, like, I leveled up a little. So, just different stuff happens, like when you just get your eyes on a lot of stuff, just like what Jeff was saying a bit earlier. um and thank you, folks are talking about hitting the likes and stuff like that. Thank you for hitting the like when you arrived. That Opal guy, I really appreciate that. And Theo was saying, yeah, you can literally prep those fish with just an X-Acto knife and a pin. That's all you really need, which you probably have laying around the house. And so as far as getting into fossil prep, that's such a cool place to start because it is so accessible and your rewards are aplenty. I mean, I have done very little fossil work that rewards me an entire fish. Like I can say that's the only fossil work that I've ever done where I've found an entire fish yet. And so I definitely think that that's a great place to start. And these are all really cool questions and answers. The engraver does massively speed up the process if you've got a big specimen. And yet even with the smaller specimen, like the Nideas that you're likely to come across, a big tool is overkill. You're probably going to end up you may end up doing damage. I don't want to make a head case out of it because I hate it when somebody makes a suggestion and then I go ahead and follow suit by having too much fear in my head, and sure enough, make the thing come true, like the self-fulfilling destiny thing. So I just wanted to slide you around a little bit and get you some different eyes on this particular piece of jasper slash rhyolite question mark, not sure, but such a pretty piece. I couldn't help myself. I was almost thinking, well, I could keep it to tumble, but then I was like, no, I gotta cut this. And then I also hear Randy the Sandmaker's voice in my head each time also, cut, cut, cut. So really, really pretty stuff in here. Nice thing about beach rocks is they are already tumbled or pre-tumbled. Yes, so true. I do love that. I have another, there was the incredible pectin, and those of you that came in a little bit later, let me take this off of the stage for a second. I showed this at the top of the live. Check this out. It's a pancake that has a pectin, which is kind of like a big scallop shell. And I found this on my last beach hunt. It's like perfect. There's nothing showing and it's perfectly round. And so there's probably a perfect pectin shell in there. And so I need to bang that out, and I can't get into it until I get that video going. So I'm just teasing you guys with it, but I'm gonna have to hammer it and video that and make sure I do it right so I don't ruin that thing. And then also on that same hunt, I found this incredible talking about pre-tumble jaspers. I found this jasper that was a beach jasper, and you guys know, like, I'm not always into picking up the beach jaspers. I'm trying to be better about it. Like, people were berating me for all these videos that they're like, I saw so many beautiful jaspers on the beach that you just pass by. Why? You always pick up the Steinkerns, but never the jaspers. Why? And so I was like, stop hating jaspers. Go ahead and pick up the jaspers. I picked up this one, and it was full of marcasite to the extent that it was glittering. It looked like goldstone or something like that. And so, and that is tumbled as well. And I'm trying to figure out whether or not I should cut it, or if I should like tumble it, or if I should cut it and polish it. I'm not entirely sure because it's so cool. This is an unusual amount of marcasite. We do have green tinted and blue tinted jasper that happens out here that has like these marcasite rivers through it, and that's what's giving the chemical reaction, turns the surrounding silicates the green or the sort of bluish tint. And so I have that to share. So now I'm just taunting you with these possibilities. And I did also want to take us close up to this guy, and that's probably gonna be it. Let me add this back to the stage, and my goodness, that's so overexposed. What is it? And we'll bring that down. So I showed off this shell, this fossil shell that I found. And a lot of times, these fossil shells anymore. Um, I wonder if I need to get closer or farther away. Does this want to be closer? I've been having one heck of a time with trying to get everybody into focus this evening, because I changed the camera. And when you change anything about your, like those of you who are scientists, you change anything and everything is like a bit thrown off. So here's our specimen, and there it comes into view, and you can see the chambers of our fossil shell, and they were permineralized with some agate and then some quartz on top, which happens quite a bit out here on the Oregon coast with our fossil shells. And Steinkern haters. I know, right? Like, why is it always the Steinkerns, kid, and not the Jaspers that deserve it? And so I had to take this one because it had such neat crystals in it. And so I thought, oh, like, let's try this guy under the microscope and see if we can see in the cave like we got to with our crystal cave that we found in the bone on Monday. That was so cool. I'm just wondering if at what angle can we get, but you're seeing now, like from the top down to the chambers, how cool this fossil shell picked up the crystals. And I do see what looks like a little crystal castle in here. We'll get a little closer. And I know some of you even follow that guy that finds the garnets on the beaches in Southern Oregon, and then he places them like on a moth swing, or he does like a little stack. And so I'm always expecting, like, one of these times I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to have one of his photos, like there's going to be like a garnet hanging out on the spire of one of these crystal uh, spires inside the cool little crystal cave. And so there's our little crystal cave inside the um, inside our fossil shell. So how cool is that that our little guys will grow. I mean, I love that one that's, peeking, to the left of the exposure box, hanging from the wall like a stalactite. That is so cool. Nice little clear point back there. Let's see if we can get a little closer. And there's that one. So we have a little citadel, guarding the entrance of our cave. And yeah, as we get closer, unfortunately, like getting darker, so that guy is disappearing. See if we can lighten it up. There you are. Hello. Is that a garnet underneath it? Not quite, but like I said, I'm expecting it. One of these times, I'm going to get up close and there's going to be a cool garnet sitting on top of whatever it was that I was zooming in on. That's about as close as we can get, but that's a nice little crystal cave that we have in there. It's always fun, like what Allison said last time, right, Curry? Like, wow. Last time she was like, "Yeah, I want to go live in that cave inside the bone." I could definitely live in a fossil bone cave. That would be awesome. And let's go ahead and we're gonna zoom back out really quick. It's so bright. And turn it over. Oh no, it got wet. So we're probably not going to be able to see the crystals very good. Dun, 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 dun. Go back in. Oh, there's a nice little point sitting right there. So what I thought was really, phenomenal about this particular little guy was that a lot of times when there's a through and through cavity of crystals, it just breaks apart and the whole shell is going to turn into sand right quick. And this one does have a through and through, like you could see it backlit in the video. Um, and so I think that I'm going to have to prep this one. Look at that. How cool. What a cool little cluster it's got inside it. So this is the back side. So it's going to be definitely a two-sided specimen. And I just wanted to zoom in on that cool little crystal right there. We've got quite a bit of terrain, and it's a wet cave right now because I accidentally got it wet. But it would be cool to see what goes down deeper when I prep it. If everybody holds together, because this is like several different hardnesses. When you prep these, it's tough. Like the matrix on the outside from the bryozoans is pretty tough. And then you get to the shell, and that's kind of flaky. And then if there's some crystal material on the inside, we'll zoom in on that crystal again, leave it there. Then if it's a like flaky shell, and of course you have hard quartz and agate on the inside, sometimes it comes loose on the inside and falls out. And so there's a lot of things that can go wrong with these, unfortunately. And so we'll see what happens with that little guy. Um and yeah, the microzone has gone deep, and there's a super cool Montana conversation going on about where everybody lives in relationship to each other, because there's a good clutch of hounds out there in Montana. Kim, the Montana Rock mom, of course, Theo and Katie did, and then Travis, the 406 Rockhound. And so yeah, lots of fun going out there on the Yellowstone and whatnot. And also coming up, whoops, not that one, not that one either. There we go. We're gonna explore this guy in the future. I was just reading a conversation about this material. It's petrified wood, and it's black, a lot of times black wood happens because when it's petrifying, it permineralizes in an area that has chemical or mineral or both, whatever the valence of things is turning the wood black. But there's a conversation going on because this has this white rind. It's believed to have been in ashfall, and that the wood is actually burned first and then petrified. And it seems like I can't get uh, two scientists to agree on this. Right through the middle there, that line is actually some kind of carnelian agate too. And so this is a gemmy specimen, and I usually find a couple pieces of it at least a year on our coastline. So there was quite a bit of this, and the biggest chunk I have is about this big, and it's super gemmy. It's got some of the carnelian, and it runs through to some blue agate that is fortified and has crystal druzy pockets, and is quite a beautiful specimen. And so it'll be fun too. I might cut that one, and we might take uh, some tests as far as like the fossil wood project that I'm getting to with the thin slices and looking at that stuff under the microscope. That'll be something to come as well. And so those are things that are going to happen in the future. If you didn't see the Fossil Fest video that has our beach hunt, go check that out after we're done here. And then today is Friday, and so of course the weekend, go over to Kyle's and get your indoor rock hounding on at his shopping. So he does his live sale, and there's plenty of rock hounding to do with all of the fun things that he's going to have for sale there. And I hope that you guys are able to get out and do some of your own rock hounding. Go find some fun finds. I really, really appreciate all of your generosity. I'm going to figure out how to do a list so that everybody gets their due gratitude. And we'll be working super hard towards getting our air scribe. And I wanted to thank Rufo for coming on last week and the box that he provided. We're going to be grading some of those gems for jewelry and, of course, faceting the next time that we go live as well. And, of course, Jeff. And I would like to thank Kent and Waylon for being in the video that we saw earlier, and NARG, the North American Research Group. I'll provide a link in the description of both the video and this one. If you'd like to join, you get to go on crazy these meetings where you learn a ton and you get to see other people's fossils, but also they have field trips that you can go on if you're in the area, and you can go and try to dig those 8-foot salmon and all those other crazy things that those guys have access to. And I think that that's the business at hand. Go watch a live like Ollie's Alleluia's live, or Allison. There's some wonderful talent out there. Go watch some videos. Jeff, of course, Jeff and Vicky, J&V Rock Hounding. Thanks again for being on. We will see you around the lives also. Steinkern, thanks for all that you do for the community. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.